In the day, he works at a cancer charity, and then one day he decided, how do we, let's think about the question of how do we get people to connect better. So he decided he was going to make a game. Well, actually, I've mistold the story a little bit, so you have to pay attention because he's going to correct me. So his game is called Small Talk, and we're going to have him come up and talk a little bit about it, and then we're going to play.
Okay.
Yay!
Thanks. Okay. So my name is Nick. You can call me Nick. Nicholas. Yeah. Nick. My company is. I created a company to launch this game. It's called Stark Naked. Stark Naked. The game is called Small Talk. So what I tell people is small talk is not small talk. It's not about small talk. I'll try to keep the reasons why this game was created as succinctly as possible. Okay, I'll keep it short. Two main reasons. I was reading. Have any of you read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning? Anyone? Really? Okay, good. Some people. Okay, aware of it. I was on a holiday. I was on a holiday in New Zealand. Breathtaking scenery, and somebody gave me this book in the car, long drives. I started reading it. That was like 2-3 years ago. I've kept reading it at least once a year, and that book is amazing. I think if anything, if you don't like small talk today, if you come away forgetting my name, forgetting about Stark Naked or small talk, just pick up the book, Man's Search for Meaning. Okay, he's really good. So the book talks about Man's Search for Meaning, and this guy is a Holocaust survivor, right? And he survived not because he was the strongest or the smartest, but because he had the purpose to live for, a reason and a will to live. And he came out and he wrote this book in 7 days. So he survived the camps. He came out and wrote this book in 9 days. I'm sorry, and it's been a bestseller since it was published, and it's translated in all the languages. So the book challenged me in various ways. It challenged me to look at my own life and to ask myself, what the heck am I doing? I tell myself, yeah, okay, I'm doing meaningful work. I work in a charity. Yeah, I want to do stuff that helps people. Yeah, but what the heck? Anyone can do that, right? But what makes me, what makes my contribution unique to this world? And I thought, okay, let's just explore a few questions. So I like questions because they challenge me, and I like it when people challenge me about my assumptions and about my preconceived notions. So I started accumulating questions and quotes, and it got ridiculous. I mean, I have an Excel sheet with like 300 questions about various things, things that I've been thinking about and I've been struggling with, and then all these wonderful motivational quotes that okay, what do I do with all these things? So I started classifying them in some, applying some logic to the questions and the quotes, and I thought, hey, along that journey, I sort of figured out, yeah, okay, I know what roughly I want to do. I want to help other people also discover what this meaning is in their lives. And I thought, what better way to do that than to just make a game. I have no experience with games. I have not made any game previously. I just know that nobody's going to read a book if I write it. Nobody's going to read a book if I write. But yeah. But people might play a game, People might play a game. So this is a game. The purpose of the game is to help people build meaningful relationships by having meaningful conversations. And the game is just okay. So right now, this is it. 60 questions. There are 60 questions here, open-ended questions that will get people talking. And the aim is to get people jumping into the deep end of conversations. So I don't know what kind of communities there are here, or groups, or pockets. I mean, it's my first time here, but whether it's people that you know or people you don't know, strangers, first-timers, you can use this for networking, for dating, although I tell them it's not for that purpose. It's for building relationships, meaningful relationships. So that's one reason. I mean, purpose, like finding purpose. Second one is I get very frustrated when people okay, so this is the pattern that I've observed in recent years. People are more comfortable talking online rather than face to face. I don't know about you, but the people that I've met so far, all right? They're more comfortable, especially the younger ones who are entering the workforce. They don't want to pick up the phone. They would rather just send off an email. You know, it's impersonal, it's delayed. I don't have to face the consequences. I don't have to face feedback, visual feedback or verbal feedback or whatever. And that frustrates me, like, what are we doing, right? So one of the reasons why I did this game was also to get people talking about things that matter to them face to face. So, okay, so this is just a video that illustrates my frustration. Oh, is that sound? There's no sound. Oh. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Lost the remote. It's not hooked up to the sound system, so you have to use.
Oh, okay. Okay. I hope it's loud enough.
To share something I figured out, there's a new way to be passive aggressive that's not as easy to understand. It's the passive aggressive text message. Now, if you don't know what I mean by that, here's an example. You ask a simple question like this: can I bring Dave to dinner tonight? And the person to whom you're texting replies, sure, with an exclamation point at the end. Now, if you got this text, you could reasonably assume that the person on the other end is happy about Dave coming to dinner, maybe even excited about it. But what about this? You ask, can I bring Dave to dinner tonight? And your husband or wife or girlfriend says, sure, with a period. Almost an identical text, but the subtext of the text, not that period. Instead of the exclamation point means either I thought we were going out just the two of us, or I don't care if Dave comes, or maybe it means I don't like Dave. You don't know. Well, let's look at another example here. A simple message: you ask, can you pick up some milk on the way home? And your text mate replies, of course. Now, if you got this, you can assume there will be a container of milk in your refrigerator when this person gets home. But what if you ask the same question, say, can you pick up some milk on the way home? And the response is the letter K. You got this. I think you can assume the person will get the milk but isn't happy about it. The letter K is like the text equivalent of rolling your eyes at someone. It's like what a teenager does when they ask how her day was. But a K is no good, but this might be worse. Now, try again. Can you pick up some milk on the way home? And the answer is yup. Yup translates to, oh, I'll get the milk, but why the hell can't you get the milk? I'm working all day. You had 9 hours to go get milk, and now I'm being asked to go get the milk, right? Now, yup should never be confused with yep. Yep is, yep's okay, yep is friendly, yep is upbeat, but if the E changes to a U, that person probably wants to push you into a wood chipper. I want to mention one more. Maybe this might be the most passive-aggressive of all the passive-aggressive texts. It's this. This response, ha. Ha says, I acknowledge that what you said was meant to be funny. It wasn't, but can you imagine in real life you made a joke and someone said, ha? You can't, because no one will ever do. You would have, if they did, you would fight them, right? So, just to recap, when texting, avoid using periods, yups, and ha's, and most importantly, never ever use your phone to make a call. That should never be. Nobody likes that anymore. It's annoying. I am Jimmy Kimmel. Thanks for watching. It means a lot to me. And if you'd like to take...
Yeah, so do you guys identify with this? I mean, like, does this happen to you? Or do you wonder about these things when you get messages, you know, and you sort of fill in the blanks, and actually it's a harmless message, but what the hell? So, okay, so this really goes back to communication and how we communicate. And so why did I make this game? Because I want to make relationships meaningful again. I want to help people build meaningful relationships by playing the game. Relationships are important because we are all in relationships in some way or other. The moment we are born, we are already in a relationship with our parents, you know. We are surrounded by people all the time. We have relationships that matter to us. So relationships are important. But we screw it up quite a bit. So, and maybe if we put a bit more thought into it, a bit more effort in communicating effectively, maybe our relationships will be better. So earlier somebody was saying something about, what was that? The card game, Cards Against Humanity. So sometimes I tell people, like, okay, so small talk is the diametric opposite of Cards Against Humanity. Cards Against Humanity is about fun and laughs and all that, and that's great. I think there's a time and place for that. And I think there's a time and place for small talk, which is not small talk. Okay, so what is the ideal situation for small talk? 4 to 6 players. Just grab 4 people. So we're going to divide ourselves later, right? So I'm hoping that you're sitting beside somebody that you don't know. I think that this would be even better if you don't know the person. So 4 to 6 players, right? Ideally, there's food and drink, you know, because right, yeah. Okay, good. So anybody hungry, just go there. So you exercise the same organ, like, you know, you talk with the mouth and you eat with your mouth. I mean, you know, so in between you're thinking of something. Okay, just put something in, you know. It's a filler, lah. It's a filler. What is in it? Trigger. So the trigger is the cards. The cards are like that, you know. Okay, this is just one example. Describe the happiest moment of your life. I mean, okay. We'll go into that later, but there's a trigger, okay. The trigger is just a trigger to get you started on the conversation, and meaningful conversations. So Julian, she sort of gave the game away. So it's not about the rules. I mean, there are rules and there are points. It's a game, right? So there has to be points. There has to be a winner, there has to be a loser. But it's not really a game, lah. It's not really a game in that sense, lah. And really, the points don't really matter, lah. And I think when I hold sessions with strangers, right, and we come together and we play the game over dinner, there usually comes a point in time where people say, the point system is stupid. Let's not count the points anymore. The points don't matter really, and that's when the points don't really matter, and that's when I know that we're ready to put that aside and actually have proper, meaningful conversations. And pauses, silent pauses. So I actually look forward to people when a question is asked and they are stumped, you know, and like, what the hell? And then they start eating, you know, and thinking. It means that they're thinking. And I like that. I want people to be stumped. I want people to pause and think about their answers. And you know, because the game is about questions, right? So there are follow-up questions, right? And people ask you, so what do you mean by that? You know, or how do you do that? You know, I mean, so you be challenged by other people in the game, and you know, so you and all that helps you to clarify your own answers, your own motivations, your own desires, your own reasons for doing things or being a certain way, and I think that helps. So I look out for silent pauses. I look out for nervous laughter. I look out for all these things because I know that this hits at the right mark and they're gonna go away. Maybe at the end of the game they're gonna think about this over the week, maybe, you know. And if you play the game as often as possible, as I have, I played. It's ridiculous. I just went on holiday last backpacking trip to Langkawi and Penang, and I brought this thing along with me, you know. And all these backpackers are around. I just take out, hey, let's just talk about this shit, you know, and just play around. And I met so the 2 Germans. So I got to know these 2 Germans and this Spaniard and this Dutch lady very well, and we started traveling together and we just playing all these things at every stop point, you know. And I got to know them very well actually, and it was an experiment for me. I wanted to validate it with an international audience. So I've been testing it in Singapore, but I wasn't really sure whether this would resonate elsewhere. So this was an experiment. Yeah, and I was pleased. I was pleased it worked. So yeah, so once I press this button, right, it's going to go down to the. So this is where I want to get you guys to play, right? So so these are the rules. These are the modified rules. It's actually. Let me show you the rule card. Okay, it's ridiculous. Okay, the rule card is like that. You know. It's cumbersome. And I think at some stage you think like, what the hell is this rule? I don't even want to play the rules. That's good. you don't need rules to have conversations, but you can if you want to. So this is just a way for us to get organized and to maybe just have conversations with the guys around you, you know. I can give out physical cards, or you can log into this page and like click it and scroll over, and you can. Oh, okay. You know what? I'll just leave it here, and we'll all just handle the first question. Oh yeah, Robin. Yes.
How do you, like in the game, you know, when you've got situations, we've got introverts and extroverts. Introverts can take up all the space, the introverts don't say anything. Is there a way to balance that?
There's a facilitator. I mean, usually, so I'm usually a facilitator, but actually anyone can facilitate in the sense that, you know, you try to be keep the conversation focused on the question, give people space to answer it. And I mean, clearly when it gets to a certain stage where it becomes rambling and it goes off topic and all that, right? Then okay, let's just bring it back a bit.
So does the facilitator moderator actually partakes in the game or just
Yeah.
normally answer?
Yeah, partakes.
I think to clarify, it is a turn-based game.
Yes.
So it's not like everybody talks at the same time. Although there is a variation where everybody does talk at the same time.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about.
Yeah, but we're just going to do a little sample of this here. So maybe if groups of you can break up into, like, you know, whoever's around you, maybe in groups of 6 or something, or 5 or 6, and just deal with the first question, you know, answer the first question. So what nicknames do you go by, and which is your favorite?
If you
Yeah.
want to have munchies, Luther has peanuts. Luther is there.
Yeah, one more.
Ah,
The bowls, you know, you get the peanuts.
Okay, so
yeah,
groups of 6, is it?
yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, groups of 6. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys over
we
there.
can just turn
Oh, just turn around.
because you're in rows, so it's just easier to just turn around and cluster.
6? Perfect, right?
People!
I guess it depends how the other people are. I mean, yes, there's 6 of us right now.
6, it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
You have more than one deck? I hope you brought some for sale, you know?
yeah, I did. You want? Yeah. Oh. Maybe I just give you a few. Give you guys a few.
Thank you.
So how we each take one?
Maybe just cycle through them. Yeah. Maybe one.
The numbers are the slides don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just like a card, anyone want to pick some for a question, grab one each.
But okay, so the rules of the game again. So just
Take turns
a bit of a
facilitating
guideline,
the
Are we all
question.
doing the same question or do we all do different questions?
Yeah. So hold on, guys. Right. Okay. I'm sorry. I should have just gone through this list of just guidelines, right? So pick a card, right? Ask the question followed by how or why. So every question is a how or why question, and everyone just takes the time to answer it as honestly as you can, and follow-up questions are encouraged from everyone and anyone in the group, and just to be open about it. So Robin, right? Right. Okay, Robin. So when you asked me the question about just now, if the conversation goes off topic, and if it deviates, right, and what does the facilitator do? So I was trying to formulate okay. So for me, right, meaningful conversation is important. Like when we're having this space and time here, it has to be meaningful. So if it deviates and it goes somewhere else, that's fine, as long as it's meaningful. You know, if it goes into like gossip, it goes into complaints, it goes into just bitching about stuff, then that's not meaningful at all. So I mean, so that is the minimal standard I would just apply to whether we bring it back to the question at hand. If it goes into meaningful areas in life for you, that's great. I think that's how conversation should evolve anyway. You know, so it has to be meaningful. Yeah, that's it. Oh, you didn't. Oh shit. What?
But that's a good answer.
Oh right. Oh okay.
Why I didn't ask.
Okay.
Just about time.
Time. Oh okay. Okay. So can I give you guys some cards?
Are you going to continue speaking afterwards, or is this?
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, just please.
Looking.
Yeah. Just one at a time. Yeah. Just take your time. Take your time. All right. Can I give you cards over there? Can I give you cards? Over there? No. Thanks. Yeah. Just use that if you want.
Which is your favorite?
I remember what I wanted. It's kindness.
Everybody already does that.
Or do you want to just
Sing one on
question? Yeah, okay.
I go by VI. I don't have any other names. I chose it because it is a productive mnemonic around technical people, because it's consistent with a popular text editor.
Could you spell that?
VI.
Letters, V and I.
Yeah. And I guess to answer your follow-up question, which would be, which is your favorite? When I have to choose, when I have to maximize it for a set of one, I'm going to pick one, and it's the same, and we win.
Okay, I had a lot, depending on family members or friends, but I kind of settled one. So my name is Faiza, which is a little bit difficult to pronounce for people who aren't familiar with it. So when I was 18, I had a friend from Australia who couldn't pronounce it and started calling me Fuzzy. And I've loved it ever since, because I have fuzzy hair. And I think now I am more known as Fuzzy than by my actual
I would
name.
only ever call her Fuzzy.
Yeah, I don't think
Everybody I know just
I think
calls her
only
Fuzzy.
my parents still call me by my birth name. And I teach kids, and even the kids call me Fuzzy. Just Fuzzy, no miss, no madam, nothing. It's just I'm Fuzzy to everybody, and I like that. It's just conveys everything, so that's why it's fun.
So my name is Robin. For a long time on the net, I had an alias, Anne, and the reason which is my middle name, and I had this because I'm from Canada, where Robin is a girl's name, but here in Asia, it's a guy's name, and so instead of having to like go into, if people call me Hi online, usually I'm like, I don't really give a shit. But in certain communities, it made a difference. So in order to establish my gender, I used Anne. But then I got involved in all sorts of like bullshit around some of these communities, so I didn't like the name Anne anymore. So now I just use my name Robin, or my partner has a nickname for me, which is Puffin.
Why Puffy?
Huh?
Why Puffy? Puffin. Why Puffin? Why Puffin?
I don't know, it was just something, it was some conversation, and then now we call each other Puffin. So it's yeah, we're both call each other Puffin, but the thing is,
So it's a term of endearment.
it is a term of endearment, so it's the one I like the best, but nobody else better call me that.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So it's another bird, actually. Yeah.
Puffin's a bird. Oh,
Yeah, Puffin is bird.
a bird. Okay.
Yeah, so is Robin. So
what's the difference?
Okay.
So people usually call me one of two things. They either call me, my name is Cheryl, so they either call me Shez, or Shez, yeah, the other one is Zheng, which is my Chinese.
Which is your favorite?
So my favorite, okay, so another variation of Zheng, so Zheng, Zhengi Pu.
Zhengi Pu. Okay.
And the difference between people who call me is actually time. So I spent a lot of time in Australia. So people who know me from Australia call me Shez. Variations of Shez, or people who know me from secondary school. I would say I really like it when people call me Zheng. It kind of reflects it. Very old, very true. So those would be people I would where you are. Maybe you wouldn't be in a relationship. So like my best friend, which is like particularly whiny. You don't know. Just like call me Zheng. Right. She's like married with 3 kids. Right? So who knows? It's kind of like a reflection of the relationship.
So what does that mean as negotiable?
I guess, so my name's Carl. I got a lot of kinds of things, right? My mom likes to be one my parents, it's very imaginative. I still love the fact that she sticks to it.
that would be the entire nation.
It's not very distinctive at all, but I'm even considered tall for in the Netherlands. Like most of my friends are taller than me, so they don't call me mom. They used to call me and I actually adopted that as an online nickname, but translated it into Japanese. So
Caillou.
Caillou.
I was going to say Caillou is its own name.
It's Caillou. It's anyway. So that's our nice one is that. Other than that, I don't share things with that many nicknames, but I mean nicknames are I guess it also varies from culture to culture. I find that nicknames are maybe slightly more common than they are in the Netherlands. So I have some Indonesian in-laws, and they have tons of videos for everyone.
Well, I haven't. We only have like.
Okay, so my real name is Chang.
How damn
So I've had this is what was really that's all
I don't understand. This looks like so incredible.
so I have to think about how
What does that mean?
and then you consider friends and partners. Online partnership. So for like and my games, I go by hard physics, which is like metal physics. So
How
sort of
damn
like
I get it.
like I guess that kind of good vibes and only using like
Oh, me. So, my name is Nick, right? But in school, my Chinese name is Chingray. Chingray. So my friends call me Stingray. I liked it a lot. But nobody calls me that anymore. I love stingray. I love eating stingray. I love it. Yeah, that's my favorite. Stingray. Yeah. So you can call me that. Yeah.
Cool. So this question is called Moral of the Story. It says, describe one important life lesson you've learned from the books you've read. Want to take us away, Stingray?
I need to think about it.
From the books we've read.
Any book.
I love to press, because
I read too many books.
I read myself.
The one that comes to mind. I mean, the one.
The rules don't matter, right? I'm going to change the question because this is actually quite meaningful for me. So,
okay.
And it's about books. So I've always loved books. I've kept my books very well. And I have an older sister, and when we were much younger, when we were teenagers, we had a really bad fight, and she knew how to get me. She took one of my favorite books and she ripped it. She ripped it, and I was shattered, and we had a bad fight. And my mom, when she separated us, she spoke to each of us separately. And I remember this conversation with my mom. She doesn't remember it. I brought it up a few times. She's like, it's just one of many. And she just told me, be the bigger person. In other words, let it go way before frozen. And it stuck to me. So I've obviously taken it physically, but I've also taken it and ethically and morally. And I've always, whenever I'm in a situation where there's conflict, I always be the bigger person. So it's kind of, there was a book involved, although the lesson kind of came from my mom. Sorry, I think I skipped you though.
Oh, it's very hard to look at a single book which is largely meaningful, as far as the majority of my interaction with books is in the sense of, oh hey, this is a useful tidbit of information, and when I'm considering this problem, I'll reference back to it or surrounded literature or blah. But in terms of like a vast moral transformation, I can't say I've had that experience. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm missing out.
So the last book I read had definitely was chock full of life lessons.
What was it called?
Being Mortal.
Being Mortal.
Okay. And so being mortal, really the takeaway lesson is you are going to die. And you're going to die, but that's not like how are you going to live the end of your life? And you should know when you should plan for it. And you should be able to talk to the people around you, because you are probably going to have to make decisions for your parents, for people around you. So really it was a book about asking, basically saying, look, is it quality of life that's important or quantity? Because medicine will give you quantity, but it won't give you quality. So are you prepared to, do you know yourself? What do you want, and what do the people around you want? And I think it's really good. Everybody should read that book, seriously. It's like essential.
But did it affect your behavior? Did it affect?
So I guess I was already kind of going down this path because I had been involved, a friend of mine died a couple of years ago, fairly young, and then I sort of slightly got involved in the funeral business because of it. So I had been thinking a lot about these issues, but it really pulled it together for me in a way that it also makes it easy for you to say to people, look, there's a lot of stuff you have to think of, but read this first, because it gives you the motivation to the next step. Yeah.
Actually, so the first thing that came to my mind was.
But when I have to cook,
I guess it would be like some like transformations. So the book that I had in mind was the Bible.
What?
And I wanted to like, and there's one particular verse which I kind of, I guess it's like my life verse. So the verse basically says, the Lord God has given you the tongue of the learned, that you might speak a word in season to the people of his family and all that. So that's kind of like, I guess. So basically what that means is that, yeah, so, I still wonder some days. Yeah, no, but I guess what it means is kind of like, so and then the next verse is basically to kind of be sensitive to being able to identify, like, to me it's kind of encouraging.
I really don't know what the first verse means.
Okay, so basically the first verse is, God has given you the ability to say encouraging words, and in season, like when it was like a time where somebody who was weary would consider things to be short.
Or like in a timely way, or at an appropriate time.
You can be nice to people.
Yeah. It's more like, be nice.
Just say something that it
Yeah, kind of. So I guess for me, like, it's just like, no one, you know, like you say, like you're in conflict or, you know, in a situation, it's something to kind of remember, I guess. You know, that you have the opportunity to kind of make the situation better.
Is it sort of obligatory to do it now?
Can I?
Yeah.
So it's coming up.
Anyone who's ready, anyone who's ready.
Yeah, so my favorite book of all time is Ender's Game.
Ah, okay.
Imagine doing it here.
The enemy is down.
Yeah, so I guess the moral of that story is that
Okay,
you're
we'll go back
constantly in
to,
some sort of system, constantly being, you know,
Is there someone at this table you would like to know better?
in some sort of structure that others have created for you. And so to be present to that structure, you can choose whether or
I like that.
That's a difficult one.
We can clearly do this for about the next hour or two. Can we wrap it up about 5 minutes for the next speaker, please? 5 minutes.
Oh wow!
Well, actually, I have. So I like books. I like reading. I keep track of the books I've read. So I was kind of
Torn.
going through my list of books. What are the ones that I read the past year that have? So one of the most concrete examples. So I moved here temporarily, but that involved me and my wife. We own a home in the Netherlands. We're renting, or people are renting from us. So we had to like keep house basically. So I read this book by Marie Kondo, the life-changing, the la 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 of tidying.
I'm going to send you an article because
I know.
Read your privacy. It's all about death, right?
It's she's been heavily criticized and everything. I know. Maybe life is too short for all that stuff. But I'm a bit of a neat freak. So this really kind of pushed all my buttons, and my wife got really as I went through the whole method that she outlines. She basically says you need to get rid of everything. Well, at least you need to. No, actually, what she says is take everything you own, put it on the floor, and take each item one by one in your hands. And if it sparks joy, these are then you keep it. If it doesn't, you discard it. So I actually did that. Everything I own. and it was quite kind of, I would say it's at the very least refreshing.
And what list was she in?
I'm sorry? What list was she in? Well,
You know, she
She's
gave
very funny.
away a pair of pliers, and then when she needed to remove the screw, she broke her ruler trying to get it out. So,
right.
you know.
Yeah, so that's also what she talks about, how you'll regret discarding something. And it's right, because quite rapidly after one exercise, I do recall there were some things that I just kind of like, shit, I shouldn't have gotten rid of that. So, but I still do adhere to the doctrine, at least certainly living here now. I become very kind of conscious of acquiring stuff. Not that I'm that into buying stuff, but it's kind of, in this town, you're constantly bombarded with all this. So I find my desire to buy stuff I've only been here for 2 weeks, but you know you're going from mall to mall to
But
mall.
in fairness, you've thrown out all your stuff.
I've already bought some new stuff. So this nice new water bottle, for instance, I was like, you know, I actually need a new, but I discarded the old one. So you see, so I'm already actually it didn't really make an impact on my life at all. I'm right back into it. That's the book. It's a fun read.
You gotta give me your email address. I'm gonna send
Yeah,
you an article.
I'll show. It's on the slides.
This is a embarrassing moment.
Okay, so like character, like a lot of books, but how can you isolate like any single book for moral impact? I could say what transformative books
You're more confident now.
the beginning of Infinite. That's by this Oxford physicist David Deutsch. Like computing people, like he does quantum stuff. Yeah. So anyway, like in that book, he talked a lot about.
I feel I lose focus very easily. So
how we
I get a mail and to look at it mail and
how can we come to things like so like his basic idea was that
so when you get a mail and spend so hard to explain how to get a
piece of knowledge is not so like right now we might have an explanation for say, oh, why does the sun set? You know, so like in the past we might think, oh, because the sun goes around the earth, so it's relation. And then now we think, oh, it's because the earth goes around the sun. Or rather because the earth. So with new discoveries we figure out new, more correct ways of explaining things.
Truth is a function of time.
Yeah, like, you know, for him, we asymptotically approach it, but we never actually reach it. So, I mean, you know, after that, I read a lot more philosophy and all. So, I think there's room to update his ideas a bit, but the general idea, you know, like, provided the framework, he tried to apply to different fields. So, like, things like politics. Like, so he said, you know, democracy is important because it allows you to continually discover what's the correct way to govern, right? Whereas, like, if you end up in a system that you are stuck, you know, and you can't change the system, it might be the wrong system, and then you're stuck right there, and you'll never approach to it. So, I guess basically it just encouraged me to think more about students.
I think we're going to have to continue this after the next
To update his ideas, were you being ironic? That is actually his theory. If there wasn't that.
Well, theoretically, yeah. Like, I'm just trying to think of ways to formulate it that maybe more in line with what's going on in analytic philosophy.
So do you think this is a system that can repeat itself?
I think we're not, you know, in a dead end like this.
Do you want to stand? Or
ways in and out.
I'll stand. Yeah, maybe I'll sit later.
Thinking about change.
Oh no, I know a lot of those guys.
So I'm actually fairly mostly in one thing you talked about was the first class support system, right? So,
Oh, we did.
yeah, so like that's a good thing because it means that theoretically just 51%. And
these guys are still going.
Whereas like if you sit in a parliament and then you don't know what works, like
I'm asking on behalf of the others. Is there a hackerspace discount for the cards?
The promo code.
Yeah. Can we enter the promo code?
25% off.
Whoa! Wow. Okay.
Wait, who's doing the math? How much is that?
$25. That's
$25.
unless you got a pile of 10-cent pieces.
Yeah.
It's $25.
Robin,
Can I get two?
No, I want it. I want it back.
$25, I'll take two.
Take two. Okay. Whoa.
So any of you have belated your Christmas presents? Team building camps coming up? No,
Yeah.
I'll stop marketing for you. But let's help you with a bit of market research.
I'm sorry, I brought a few pieces, but I sold some during the day earlier, and I have maybe 3 pieces.
Let me have one.
I'll take one, so
Okay.
someone else can have.
Okay, I'll take one.
I'll take one.
There are other
I need to
groups.
give you change.
Yeah, man.
All right.
So while we're sorting it out, maybe
I need
share
to
with us if you have a favorite question.
Wait, no, I can
You give each other, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, got it.
Happy problems.
Thank you.
Right, thanks. Okay, so this comes.
I don't think he has anymore.
You should have brought more cards.
I wasn't expecting it.
Quick sale.
You can find it. Where can you find it?
Yes, where can you find it?
Stark Naked.
Dude, you didn't look on the side of the
Starknaked.com.
room.
So Stark.
Doorstep delivery.
We have delivery. Yeah. Delivery. Yeah. Free delivery. Yeah. So, I'm sorry, I'm not a very good salesman. Like right now, I'm like a bit flustered.
You should be. Get a code so that if all of you
Yeah.
No, he's not doing well at all. He's out of his stock.
You give us a code, we'll post it on the Facebook page at the end of the day. Yeah? Okay, awesome. Okay, so we can get people to turn their seats back towards the front, and we've got some newcomers. If you can just come inside.
Newcomers. 2 newcomers go inside.
So we have a bit of room.
So cheap.
Have a chair in there somewhere.
Yeah, in other words, it's start and then
It's alright though.
So our second game maker of the day
did he
is
get it covered?
Cars. And he's visiting from the Netherlands. And he's built quite a number of games, but the one he's going to play with us today is quite fascinating because I was telling him it's got a bit of an element of kind of like teasing out your own moral philosophy, and given what's been happening in the world, it's also quite an interesting way of understanding complexity as well, complexity and unreliable narratives and all that sort of thing. But I think he's going to talk a little bit more about his game design journey, so we're going to leave him to it.
Thanks. Yes, hello everyone. My name is Kars. Those are my details. Yeah, and I've just arrived here in Singapore. I've arrived 2 weeks ago.
Have you had durian yet?
Yes, well, not this trip, but I have had durian. Yeah, I smelled it these past 2 weeks. It's yeah. I like helping people improve themselves or their environment, and I do that through design. So I practice design. The past few years I've mostly managed design projects, and I also teach design, or more broadly train people in design. And the things I've worked on are mainly, or my background is mainly in software products. And the things I like to work on the most are tools. Tools for learning and tools for creativity, mainly. And the reason why I like working on those things is that I enjoy seeing people do unexpected things with the stuff I make. And tools are, by definition, that way. They, or at least good tools are, in my opinion. So that users aren't just passive consumers; they are producers or co-creators. So those are the things I enjoy working on, and that interest has naturally kind of led me into the world of games, game design, more broadly play. You know, exploring systems, figuring out the rules of a thing, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm here until August, and I'm interested in working locally. So if after this talk you want to grab a cup of coffee sometime, or you think I should talk to someone, please, you know, come up to me and we can have a chat. I'd love that. Until the end of last year, I was a partner at Hubbub, which is a small design studio which I founded. I was based in the Netherlands, and my partner is based in Berlin. And we've kind of paused operations as we both explore new things. But I am going to show you some of the work we did over the past 6 years. At Hubbub we did various things, but they fall into roughly two categories. On the one hand, we did design consulting. So we helped organizations figure out what they can do with games and play. We did concept development. So for new product ideas, we came up with concepts and we prototyped them. So we built early stage versions of them, did the research required, tested them, and some of those were developed into products later on. The other side of Hubbub was kind of an independent practice, a studio, if you will, and there we made kind of experimental, playful stuff, games and toys and playthings, often kind of across the digital and the physical. So when I say game, I'm not necessarily talking about video games. We've done work in reality gaming, alternate reality gaming, pervasive gaming, mobile games, and so those independent projects were often kind of critical in nature, and we also like to do collaborations with different people. And I think that latter category of work is most kind of relevant, I think, to a hackerspace community. So I will show some of the projects we did within that context. So for lack of a better term, the word we settled on towards the end of our run was playful design for the stuff that we did, which is kind of a field that is kind of operates at the intersection of interaction design, like software design, and game design. So the idea is that play is something that can make any technology product more humane. It allows you to, if a product allows for play, it allows you to be more fully human. And it's wonderfully expressed in this book, a recent book which I highly recommend, called Play Matters. It's a quick read, so don't be scared. Pick it up. And it's relevant to all kinds of, I think, makers and hackers. Particularly this quote, which I try to kind of live by in my professional practice. The idea that I think this is very relevant. I think our model of technology is often either, stuff that does something for me, kind of a servant, or stuff that imposes things on me. So we tend to think in those two kind of, in that dichotomy. And I'm not entirely sure that's the most productive way to think about technology, or I'm sure there's a kind of a third way, if you will, where technology is kind of like a partner or a playmate or an equal. And this is what Miguel Sicard talks about in his book a lot. Technology being a source of expression, so kind of take on things. I'll show some projects that I think are all kind of in some way related to this idea. And the first one is a video. Let's hope it runs. Because in the spirit of hacking, I've switched to new presentation software for the first time, so everything might go horribly wrong. But here it is. Play. So before I talk about this project, I should emphasize that this wasn't just a hubbub project. We were part of a research project which was led by both the Utrecht School of the Arts and the Wageningen University. Pigs. I'm sorry?
Is it iOS and Android?
iOS. The prototype runs on iOS. So this is a concept video. Later on, we went on to build a working prototype. The background for this project is that in Europe, pigs that are farmed for meat are required to have toys in their pens. Because as you may know, pigs are incredibly intelligent animals. You may not be aware of this, but they are super intelligent. So when they are bred in captivity, they grow bored. And when they grow bored, they start molesting each other, basically. They bite each other's tails, ears. That's the only enjoyment, left to them, basically. If you bite in someone's tail, blood comes out, they start screaming. That's interesting, right? So once the public learned about, so the way pig farmers deal with this traditionally is to dock tails. So shortly after birth, pigtails are cut off, basically. And in Europe, at least, there was increasing pressure on government to kind of increase the kind of to make the treatment of these animals more humane. So this notion of docking tails and stuff, people didn't really like to hear about it. So, this led to laws prescribing these animals to have toys in their pens that they can use to kind of, enjoy themselves. And when I say toys, so farmers have very limited resources because the economics of livestock farming are brutal. So they operate on very small margins, so they can't go out and buy super fancy stuff for these pigs to play with. So when I say toys, you have to think about stuff like a piece of chain that they can chew on, or a block of wood on a chain that they can kind of mess around with. and that's reasonably enjoyable. So one of the people involved in this project, or one of the people kind of who started this project, Clemens Driessen, is a moral philosopher. He's done a lot of research into how we relate to domesticated animals and how technology affects that relationship. And when he learned about, so he was talking to pig farmers, and at some point, and they were talking about these toys, and he found that interesting. And in fact, one of the pig farmers at some point, and this was back in 2010, 2011, I think, at some point said, well, I just bought my kids a Nintendo Wii, and it was one of the first kind of video game consoles to have a motion interface. And she said, kind of just as an idea, why can't my pigs have something like that? And he was kind of very intrigued by this idea. Why indeed can't pigs have a video game to play with? So this idea stuck in his head, and he eventually approached the Utah School of the Arts, which has a game design program and a research group, and we got involved, and we ended up first doing concept work, later on doing prototyping. And the main goal of this project was to see if through game design we can kind of investigate how we relate to these animals, and also to see if once we introduce the concept of a game, how people think about their relationship with these animals, if it changes, and if it does, how it changes. And as you can, I'm curious. Maybe we can later, after this talk, we can talk about this. How kind of, what kind of triggers this sets off in your own head about these animals. As you can see, this pig here, who we worked with, has a nice curly tail. So actually, once they start being able to play with not our video game, but any toy in general, the docking isn't necessarily needed anymore. So that's good news already. So that's Pig Chase. This is another thing we made, which is also kind of looking at, again, play and playfulness and social dynamics. This is an independent project. It's called Standing. It's an app for standing still. You can go on the iOS App Store and download it. So you see it here on the left, and here's one of my collaborators, Simon, standing in the center of Rotterdam in the Netherlands. And as you can see, he's standing for something. That's the cause he's standing for. That's the default cause in the app, but you can change that to any cause you'd like to stand for. This was inspired by the Standing Man demonstrations, which happened in Turkey, in Istanbul. And we started this project shortly after that event, as a kind of investigation into activism and how technology is used in activism nowadays. In the kind of the activism community, there's kind of a concern that stuff like online petitions and the ease with which you can kind of support a cause just by clicking one button, you kind of that might function as a kind of a release valve for certain kind of social unrest, and which would otherwise lead to actual physical action in public space, for instance. This is a theory that people in the activism community have. It's not necessarily true, but it's an interesting idea. So we asked ourselves the question: could we use technology to kind of create a middle ground between like the traditional walking the streets in a protest, which nobody wants to bother with anymore, apparently, for some reason, right? It's a pain. It might be dangerous. Depending on where you are in the world, you might not even be, allowed to do that. And just, being super lazy and clicking a like button on a Facebook page for some cause that you that you care about, but if that's the only thing you're willing to do. So this is kind of we decided to make something that shows that there maybe is kind of, again, something in between. And it's been fun. So we see people all over the world standing for all kinds of stuff. One of my favorite, and it kind of exposed me to all kinds of like local concerns. A bus driver's strike in Sao Paulo is just one thing that comes to mind. And I invite you to give it a try. It's a weird thing to make because it forces you to do absolutely nothing, and it makes your phone completely useless, because the idea is you start the app and you need to press this button and keep pressing it, and a counter starts running. And we also use the rest of the sensors of the phone to make sure that you're actually staying in place and not moving, so you're kind of fixed. And then in the meantime, on a companion website, getstanding.com, we broadcast the fact that someone is standing for cause X in that location, and it's all kind of archived and added up. So all the people standing globally for peace, those are all added up on our website, and you can see how many hours people have stood for peace globally using our app. It's a very kind of subversive, I think, and again kind of playful way of practicing activism. Am I still good? Yeah. Okay, the final, because I want to get to bycatch. So these are just some examples, and hopefully it illustrates this concept of using technology to be present in the world and to express yourself. So the final one again is a video. So this is the least political of the projects I'll talk about, but I think this is also hopefully interesting to you guys, because I imagine some of you work with hardware as well. CamPark is a toy, basically. It's a public space toy. It's as you could see, it's a big ball, transparent ball. Inside it is a bunch of stuff. A camera with a panoramic lens streaming live video over a mobile data connection to an Oculus Rift. So you can put on the Oculus Rift, and you are put inside the ball as others play with that ball in the square where you're standing. So you're kind of you're put in a different kind of perspective on the world, and people are playing with you, but you're somewhere else. So it's a very kind of weird experience. This is Mark II. CamPark Mark I streamed video to a large urban screen. So we've kind of we've kind of developed it further, and all the stuff, all the technology inside of it is in kind of what we call a poor man's gyroscope. So it's not a actual gyroscope, but it's good enough to keep stuff more or less kind of in place. So as the ball rolls, you are kind of you don't roll with it, basically, unless people start playing with it very roughly. Then you start getting kind of jiggled around, and it's an interesting, weird experience, and you can kind of look around you, so you get a very different kind of perspective of maybe a very familiar city. So the video was shot in the center of Eindhoven, which is one of the bigger cities in the Netherlands. And we just, we had one of these balls, and was the busiest time of the day on a Saturday, so shopping day. And that ball was just running through, rolling through the people walking around, and you get a lot of kind of spontaneous interactions and a spontaneous play happening between not only people who are there together, but also people who are just, who don't know each other at all. And I think that's a very valuable thing in and of itself to have. And it's something that's kind of gradually disappearing in the Netherlands because more and more of our public spaces are being commercialized. I'm sure the Singapore context is completely different. I'm curious what would happen if we would take one of these balls and put it in the streets here. I don't have one with me, but it would be an interesting experiment. So we wanted to kind of reintroduce this idea of public play in a busy kind of shopping area, and it was also the kind of the educational side of the project was about the transparency of it, literally, and the way it's constructed is. I hope you can kind of recall from the video. Maybe if I'll mute it and I'll run it again. We deliberately designed it in such a way that each component that we used is very clearly visible in the armature. So what also happens is people are curious about how the thing works. And the nature of the physical design of the thing helps us kind of have kind of very informal conversations with people in the streets about how easy it is nowadays to build these things that do all of these kind of pretty advanced stuff. And you can talk about how tiny cameras are nowadays. The fact that there's just a USB dongle with a 4G SIM in there, and it's streaming live video all the time, and all these stuff. So, and young people, old people. I really enjoyed just hanging around while people were playing with it and having these conversations. How much longer do I have? Okay, so I'm sorry? Okay, so how much? 15. Okay. So the project I'll finish with is a game we released last year, and we're selling it ourselves on a website. I only have my demo copy with me. Had I known I would be here and there were like, I don't know how many people are here. I might have paid Singapore Airlines extra to bring a big box, but I'm sorry guys. So I'm afraid we won't be able to do like a full play session, but maybe I can get a few of you to help me out and we can do kind of a quick demo. And I'll talk you through kind of the way it works. It's a little more complicated than small talk, so we'll have to make do. So Bycatch is a card game about drone warfare. I call it an issue game or a critical game. It's fun to play, seriously. It's also not that hard to learn how to play, but it kind of also kind of challenges your own kind of ethical and moral kind of considerations of this kind of very current topic of remote warfare. And maybe we thought the reason why we made this project was that we thought there was an opportunity for kind of a critical thinking about it for a general audience that only games kind of can do. So we are bombarded with kind of opinions about it in media. So there's great journalism being done, and there's great documentaries and all kinds of stuff, and all of that is amazing, and I'm super interested in it. But it's sometimes hard to kind of think through of some of the kind of the more systemic aspects of it, without actually seeing it in action. So that's why we made bycatch, is one of the reasons. Very deliberately, we are not telling you what to think. We are giving you kind of a context within which you can kind of figure out how you feel about these things yourself. And if you want to be very gung-ho about hunting down terrorists globally and making tons of collateral damage in the process, that's fine too, right? But it's very interesting to see what happens at the table when you do, and how other people respond to it, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, there's a smartphone here in the product in the product shot. The smartphone isn't included. And actually, you don't really need a smartphone, but you do need a phone with a camera. So this is kind of a hybrid game, but not in the sense that we use an app or anything. We just use your camera. So any phone works. So this is kind of one of the things you do in the game, and it's kind of the most distinguishing thing. One aspect that this game is about is surveillance, and aerial surveillance and camera surveillance, and the fallibility of that way of kind of looking at the world from above and thinking that gives you kind of a God's eye view of reality that allows you to make kind of perfect decisions. We kind of use the camera phone as an analogy for an aerial drone, which surveys the terrain and allows you to kind of see whether in the hand of one of your opponents which cards they are holding. Each card shows a person. One of those persons is a suspect, is suspected of being a terrorist or colluding with terrorists, and you're hunting for that person. All the players at the table are hunting for that person. Each player is kind of nominally a nation, and you all have your own kind of surveillance apparatus, and you're surveilling each other, and then you can kind of decide to strike at one of your opponents and eliminate, and hopefully eliminate the suspect, because that scores tons and tons of points. If you kill any innocents in the process, those are minus points. So the trick is to balance the surveillance with the striking, but we are handicapping you, because between the moment you are taking a photo, so one aspect of it is when you're taking the photo, as you can see, you're not allowed to take the photo with the screen towards you, so it's kind of an awkward way of taking a photo. So stuff can go wrong with making the photograph itself. So it's blurry, it's incomplete, but you still need to, you get one shot. The other thing is you need to kind of wait one turn until you get to act on your surveillance data. And the world changes in between, right? There's a whole kind of turn that happens, so hands might change, and you kind of need to make a kind of an estimate whether your surveillance data is still kind of up to date enough to warrant making a kill decision or not. So those are the kind of I imagine the stressful things that some of the people in the for instance, the American kind of a drone machinery that's been built up are confronted with every day. Of course, this is an analogy. We're not trying to do a realistic simulation of it. We're just trying to create a kind of, I call it a subjective simulation that kind of emphasizes certain dynamics that we're interested in and puts you in kind of the shoes of the decision maker. And when I say we, this is we. So that's me. This is Alper, my business partner, and that's Leica. So the three of us, we came up with the concept, designed the game, and it was an interesting process. Leica's based in New York. I'm based in the Netherlands. Alper's based in Berlin. So all of this happened, most of this happened remotely. So we went through the way we worked. Each of us made prototypes, designed prototypes, independently from each other. We shared them with each other, and we played them with local groups. We did kind of a Darwinian take on game design, and we started at some point, you hit upon interesting elements, and you start merging them, combining them, and then eventually we got to the design we have today. We also had help from a brilliant illustrator and a great graphic design studio, but the rest of it we all did ourselves. We had it printed in the Netherlands, and now we do distribution, fulfillment from Alper's workplace in Berlin. So that's also been a super interesting process to go through the whole kind of the first step of coming up with the idea all the way towards the end. We do this stuff professionally, but hardly ever do we do all of it. And so this was an opportunity for us to do every aspect of product development and marketing and so on and so forth. Yeah, so this is where you can find it. And now I'm hoping to show you roughly how it works. I talked about it a little as well already, and for that I need a few volunteers.
How many people do you need?
5? So, okay, so, or we can do Q&A now, and I can sit down with a couple of you, and we can just like play without a ton of people, or who wants to watch can watch, or yeah, okay.
Come on, I can't be the only volunteer.
But I do need to. So we need a table as well.
Right.
So we can use this one.
So can you
Sounds
turn
good.
around and actually become the terrorist and kill the innocents?
No.
One might argue that's
Traitor in the midst, right?
No. So that's actually left out of the kind of the game design, the actual kind of the terrorist act itself. So also we call these people deliberately suspects. So we kind of we're not telling you they are certainly bad people. We just think they're bad people and need to do something about it.
Is it conceivable that you could win without killing a suspect?
Yeah. Yeah, there's different strategies. One of the other things you can do in the game is shelter your own citizens. So you can keep your citizens safe from harm, and that scores you points as well. So you can kind of, and actually you can choose to do the same with suspects that are in your own hand, so that are in your country. You can choose to kind of keep them safe from other players. So for whatever reason. So let's see.
Law, for example.
I'm sorry?
A belief in the rule of law.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So let's see. I'm going to do. Can you shuffle this for me? Yeah, you guys maybe want to grab a chair, or at least try to kind of sit around the table.
Okay. Can you stand up?
That'll work. Right, cool. Okay, each player gets a hand of 7 of these cards.
Ah.
Yeah, you can see your own cards. Okay, so this is the intelligence deck. These are all this deck tells you which person in the game is a suspect. So there's 9 people. There's seven of each person in this deck. Okay, so I'm going to take a few out. So we're going to take 5, 1 for each player, plus 3. So there's 1 isn't in the game actually. And the first one is opened like this. So this is the first suspect of the game. It's a number 8 for those who are trying to follow along. If you want to get up and kind of stand around to see what happens, please be my guest. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So if you have if any of you has one of these in their hands, that's a suspect. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so each of you is a nation. Your goal is to win. And how do you win? You win by being the player with the most points at the end of the game. Yeah, with me so far?
Yep.
Okay, so you score points in a few ways. You score points by eliminating suspects through a strike. You also score points through sheltering your own citizens, keeping them safe. You lose points when you strike innocents, collateral damage. Okay, so we, as the game progresses, you rack up points, and then at the end of the game we tally the points. So playing the game, here's a, if you can see, it's we take turns, and on your turn you do three things. The first thing is you admit a new citizen, which is to say you draw a card. Either from, hang on, we'll go through it just quickly, and then we'll play. So you first draw a card, then you can get to do one of three actions, or you can not do any of them. So you can either build a shelter, gather surveillance, or order a strike. Okay, that's step 2. Step 3 is control your own borders. You either, if you have more than 7 cards, you discard down to 7. If you have less than 5 cards, you draw up to 5. Again, from this deck. Okay, who has the oldest phone?
I'd say mine's about a year old.
Only mine.
Yeah? Is yours the oldest?
Yeah.
Okay, you get to go first.
Darn for an old phone. Why is the oldest grown the first one in?
He's at a disadvantage, right? He doesn't have the high tech, so
Alright, so
let's
I
give him
draw
a head start.
So I draw a card?
So the first step is to draw a card, yeah. Okay.
So it's the people we want to catch.
So you wanna catch this person at the moment, but it'll change. Once this person is caught, killed, eliminated, whichever kind of euphemism you want to use, and the next one is revealed. Okay. So okay, you've done step 1, admitting a citizen. Okay, so this is hard to read. Step 2 is to take an action. So normally you would get to choose, but I'm going to give you an action because I'm teaching you the game now. So the first action is to build a shelter, and building a shelter is a bit like rummy. So if you have cards in your hand, at least 3 that are a run. So for instance, 2, 3, 4, or 3, 4, 5, 6. You can put them in front of you, face up, and those are sheltered.
Would it include a suspect?
It can include a suspect, yes.
So how many cards, like maximum?
At least 3. And you can do as many as yeah, because you get more points as the shelter increases. So for a shelter you get 20 points for the first 3 citizens, and then 20 extra points for each extra citizen in there. If there's a suspect in your shelter, the points get multiplied, so you get double points.
So, can you repeat the sheltering part? So how do you?
A run.
So it must be like okay.
Let's see. Yeah, that's great. And actually, you've got this person. So what happens now is she's safe.
Yeah.
We reveal the next one. Okay. So the last bit of your turn is if you have less than 5 cards, you get to draw up to 5. You probably do. And we go on to the next player, which is you.
Okay. So we'll draw a card.
Yes. And then I'm going to give you an action. Again, normally you get to choose. The second action you can do is to gather surveillance. So this is the one I've been telling you about. So you get to take your phone.
Okay.
And this is a free action. You don't need to use any cards. So you get to take your phone, and now you get to, the first thing you do is you shout surveil.
Surveil.
And all of the other players need to freeze in place. So they're not allowed to move anymore until you're done. Now you pick one of these people,
okay,
and you get to surveil them. You get to take 1 photo of their hand of cards.
Okay.
Yeah. In the way that is shown here. So you need to kind of use the back camera.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
I choose you.
Very forthcoming. So go for it.
Okay.
So like I can't move at all while he's taking the
Right.
photo.
And he gets to take 1 photo. Doesn't matter if he messes up or not.
We don't surveil foreign states, so I'm just going to shoot
Wow.
Go for it.
So when you surveil and you're supposed to freeze, and what if it's like Roland, he has his cards all
Yeah, there's a few rules, and of course he's trying to kind of bend them. There's a few rules. One of the rules, and I haven't told you about them first, but of course you try to kind of do the thing that he just did, which is to just put them all.
So
And that would be too easy. So
the photo is only one card.
yeah, well, the rule is you're not allowed to hide one card behind another fully. You get to mess around with the cards in your hand, though. You can. There's different. You can be creative, but as long as they're not all the way behind each other, it's fine. The other rule, the second rule, and that's the last one, is there needs to be enough space between the face of your cards and the environment for a phone to fit in. So we call that a hand's breadth, reasonably speaking. But you can keep it very close to you or yourself or the table or whatever if you like. But again, you need to kind of anticipate it, because once the player shouts surveil, you're not allowed to move anymore. Okay, so you've surveilled.
I have.
You've been very that's an interesting choice you just made.
It's a beautiful image, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
We share our intelligence. We share.
And to finish your turn, I think you have 8 cards in your hand now. You need to discard one.
Okay, I will discard this.
And you discard it face up next to this deck. Yep. And now, the nice thing about this is that if you draw a card, you can also draw the top one from the discard pile. Okay? So, next player, that's you.
What if you discard the suspect? Is that allowed?
You're not allowed to discard the suspect.
Oh, right.
The suspect card is basically taboo. The only thing you can do with it is shelter it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's your turn. First you draw a card.
No special renditions.
I'm sorry?
No special rendition. Put them in a backpack, put them in a plane, send them to.
It's very straightforward. It's very straightforward. Okay, and now I'm going to give you the third and final option you have is to order a strike. But I'm not entirely sure if you're able to do it, because for this you need to be able to discard a pair of 2 identical cards. Do you have one of those?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a requirement. You need to discard those. That's kind of manpower expended.
Okay.
So they go to the discard pile.
So just a pair of any. Okay.
As long as they're identical, yeah.
If he has 2 pairs, can he do
And
this?
again,
More than
multiple
what if you
strikes?
have more than one pair?
you can only strike once.
Oh.
Yeah. And now you choose. So this is a bit weird because you haven't surveilled or anything. So you're completely like bloodthirsty. You're just going to go for it, because all of these nations are untrustworthy. I'm putting words in your mouth now, but so you get to pick one of the players and you get to strike. The thing about striking though is it's not super exact. So the rule here is, as you can see in this illustration, you need to take 3 cards from the hand of your opponent, which are next to each other. So there's always some, but maybe there's a suspect in there. For the suspect you get 100 points. Yeah.
Okay.
For the collateral damage you get, let me just quickly check, -10. Right? Okay. So normally for a successful strike, you would get 100 points for the suspect, -10 for each. So that's at 80.
But
Okay.
what if he happens to have 2 suspects next to each other?
That's good news, but it's very rare. You're very lucky if that happens. So pick a player and strike.
Did you not recognize the non-violent
I'll
gesture?
return your non-violence with violence.
Complete violence.
Yeah. All right.
Weakness has been smelt.
It's not 4.
3. Yeah.
The 4.
Okay, so did you strike gold? You didn't strike gold. So this is -30, and those go after everyone has seen what you struck. Those go face down.
Do people typically see what you strike?
They always see. Yeah, they always. First you show it, and then they go face down to kind of keep it a little bit interesting for the card counters amongst you. You probably know why this is important. Yeah, so that's the third action, and you get to draw, but I think you're good. So that's it. The game ends when this pile runs out, or when this pile runs out, and then you tally up the points. And if you feel like it, you go another round. Yeah, so that's bycatch.
Run out of citizens, we have to stop playing. That seems.
Or if we run out of
Well, yeah, that too, but actually, killed all the people.
So I don't know if you want to do maybe discussion or Q&A now, or you want to keep playing.
Can you bomb a shelter?
So I've built a shelter with a suspect.
That is very
Okay,
nice.
so we've changed the suspect.
cool.
So it's good to have suspects.
You can keep them safe in your own country. Yeah, it's not entirely a bad strategy, and it keeps the game moving. So that changes all the time. So there's new intelligence that's being revealed as the game progresses, and a different person has become suspect.
How are you surveilling? So we're supposed to freeze.
Surveil. Yeah. Why am I doing this?
You can't see the screen.
It's going to be that camera. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to shout
okay.
surveil
So
first
it's
before you start taking your camera.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, I look suspicious now, do I?
Track record of harboring terrorists.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see the problem.
Clearly, you need some practice. Yeah.
Yes.
You're new to this whole surveillance thing. Maybe show it to the rest.
That was very helpful.
Yeah. So I've managed to get 2 of. I'm not sure which number it is.
Yeah. So.
Well, so it's enough to identify
Someone.
But doesn't look like
one of them, but yeah, not in particular, not the suspect. So number 9, yeah, okay, not the suspect. So there you go. And it's 5 to 8 is the target. 5 to
Up to 5 or down to 7. So you have, I think, 1 too many or 2 too many.
I love
Yeah, so that's one of the. I've seen players who've just tried to win without doing any strikes, doing any active aggression. And it sometimes sometimes works.
Oh, if
because he did.
yeah, I got understood. Yeah.
Okay.
They aren't playing. They are subjects.
Can I shelter a consecutive run of more than 3?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, you get extra points for those.
I don't have it. I just asked.
That one doesn't.
Making good progress.
And do I have to draw more cards?
You get up to 5. Up to 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one of the downsides of being struck, is you lose population and you need to play a complete turn until you can kind of replenish your hand. So you can also choose to just handicap other players.
What if you have no cards when it's your turn? You draw 5, or
If you, when you start the turn and you have no cards, you're shit out of luck. You need to then finish your turn and then you draw up to 5 and then the next player goes. So yeah, sometimes you can still surveil. Yeah, you can still surveil. That's true. Yeah.
At least 2 cards to dispose notice. Well,
That's a strike. Yeah. Yeah. So you can always surveil. Surveilling is good. Because we really want you to surveil. That's basically the point. Yeah.
Right. So they when you try suspect
Where
is
your
not
cards?
face up.
No. There's still always one suspect. The rest is fine until someone decides they're not.
Yep. Okay. I'll surveil you.
Okay.
Since you seem to be trying to hide something.
Okay.
Alright. Flying over.
Put a bit further back.
A friendly nation.
Well, you guys are being very lenient.
Get your draw away. Yes, I think that's really expressing the friendship.
Okay. Yep. Got it.
Such an is when you're flying something else.
Oh, wait, sorry, did you want to pick?
I think I have.
Okay, I'm changing the suspect.
Right. Yeah. The right to flight.
More advanced.
Video, multi-shot, There's all kinds of ways you can cheat.
Okay, so what's the requirement for strike?
I'm sorry? Two.
Just any. Oh, two
A pair.
pair of cards. Yeah. Okay, got it. Oh, I'm not a suspect. That's helpful. Oh, because you can't send suspects to. Well, you can, I guess.
Do you guys want to ask me anything while these people are playing?
I will strike. Here. Oh well. Such is life.
I'm sorry, no. But if you can order online and we ship globally with the German mail service, which is excellent, I can tell. Deutsche Post, best in the world. Yeah.
Oh, what do you know?
Yeah, but it still ends
Love
up.
my shelters.
It ends up, and then
The last part of the journey.
we shipped to Hawaii, and it was there in a
Let
jiffy.
me tell you. Okay, what happens once it gets to
Yeah.
Singapore? It's supposed to come to your door, and even though you're
Is that a
home,
problem?
you get a little note saying you tried to deliver it, but
Oh,
you
wow.
weren't in.
Is that so?
Yeah, all the time.
Sounds like the Netherlands. So is that why the delivery, like I see a lot of online stuff where they say inside Singapore it's free delivery or something? Is that like people just going around delivering it themselves instead of going through the mail? I'm curious. No? Okay.
Pacifist for sure.
The package was too large or the
Yeah.
delivery
So my turn.
there's a big problem with guys
Yeah. So
not ringing the doorbell.
this can go through the mailbox cell. So maybe that helps. So that's one of the things we paid close attention to. Then.
Order a strike.
It goes through the mailbox. Yeah, it's too big.
Oh, it's just slim enough to fit through. Yeah.
Whoa, are you like?
Unless you have very thin mailboxes in this country.
Strike has already been ordered.
Hey! You can outrun the drones.
Nice.
Oh!
Yes. Oh, you got one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so there's a suspect.
Very nice. Good, actually successful strike.
Two people.
Okay, so those go so those go face down. So yeah, strikes go face down.
And then these go to
But
the
as a set. So keep them together.
Yep, okay.
And this was discarded, right?
Yeah.
And then you pick.
Oh,
So we're
and
out.
that's the end of the...
No, you have 5.
Oh yeah, I don't. So you can draw them. So you get one last go. We review a new piece of intel.
Oh, you took photos of him, right? And it's-
Okay, so normally
So I'm striking.
you get to reshuffle this, put it face down again, and then you still have a drop out.
Do we get to share surveillance
Oh, yeah, sure.
data?
If you like, there's no rule telling you not to. So
Oh. Completely this will fail. You guys
sorry?
need to see it.
No, I'm here.
At some point,
I'm independent at the moment, so I do
What are you gonna put them down?
design, so freelance design management.
And do we need to shuffle these?
No, I'm going around town talking to mostly startups,
So game over?
other organizations, and hopefully I get to do some stuff.
It doesn't matter. I had a strategy, but
Games, but also more generally interactive products,
You
software,
missed the suspect.
anything.
I knew it was there. You were
I've
one in
done
there somewhere.
this stuff
I just-
about 6 years.
Somehow I dealt myself
My
5 threes.
background is good those games.
I'm just guessing you won.
I'm also just talking to startups.
Right. Yes.
Well done.
Okay, so that took. Oh, did you finish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Who won?
Oh, you did.
Good job.
You started off the first
Although there was
turn.
one successful strike. What's the scoring for shelters?
Nick.
The shelters are 20 for the first 3, and then an additional 20 for each card above the first 3. So
So that's like 80. Oh yeah, and multiply by 2 for suspect.
I'm sorry.
And you multiply by 2 for.
Yeah. So those can be quite valuable. Yeah. So I think it took us about a year from first. Yeah, not full time. It's a side project. Yeah. The subject itself. So the remote warfare So we actually how it started when we first decided we wanted to work together, and so the three of us. And then from there, we first went through a process of discovering what a good subject would be for us to work on together. So we made a huge list of things that each of us found interesting, independently from each other. And then we put them all together, and then we figured out where the kind of the shared interests were, and also what would be the most kind of interesting subject to make a game about. And we hadn't settled on what kind of thing. So we didn't start it from we want to make a card game. We just started from we want to work together. And then the form emerged from the topic and the thing that we wanted to do. So actually early prototypes of Bycatch, it wasn't called Bycatch then, but we considered casual mobile games, tabletop role-playing game, and so we really kind of first started very broad, very different approaches before we settled on this. Stuff like Dungeons and Dragons. Does that ring a bell?
But like real person game, board game.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so and there's in role-playing, there's like new kind of independent role-playing games that are much more about, they're less about killing dragons and more about storytelling and stuff. So that was also one of the things that we looked into.
What's the idea of your project right now? Like you say that you don't want to do just a game because your background is so
Yeah.
but could you give an example of what are the interactive projects?
So one of the things I have a personal interest in at the moment is, oh yeah, sure.